Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's gonna sound a little bit like a broken record maybe today as far as the weather. I woke up this morning, I looked outside the windows on the second floor up in my office, and I just saw blue skies, a little bit of clouds, like wow, it's gonna be a great day. Today's Saturday, April the 6th, and like right on, I'm gonna go out and see what's going on. I go out and I open the front door and the cars are completely covered in snow again. Like, I didn't make a video last week, but on Easter Sunday, I sent a picture out on Instagram showing Easter morning snow. Now April 6th, or the night of April 5th to 6th, it snowed through the night, I guess. So I'm heading up in the mountains right now. My local stuff. Got the 80 series Land Cruiser. And when I first went out, I just had my t-shirt on. I'm like, oh, it's nice. It may be snow, but the sun's out. Then about an hour later, I went out like getting ready to go, and holy cow, the wind was blowing, it dropped, the temperature dropped. I don't know what the heck happened, but was that a coyote? Something just crossed the road. I think it was a little coyote. And yeah, it's pretty dang cold. I just fueled up at Costco, heading up in the mountains. We'll see what it's like. Like I said, it's been since my last video is 2 weeks, right? So you saw that was crazy, but that's a couple hours north of me here. I'm down in the mountains around Prescott, Arizona, so they're almost as high. Some areas are just as high, but for some reason, that corridor up there on the 40 between, Ash Fork, Williams, and Flagstaff, somehow that weather is just nuts up there. It always gets weather there. We may be sunny here and it could be snowing there. So see what it looks like up here. I've got some fun things we're gonna try some things out today, see how it works out. It's super duper soupy and muddy. Not my favorite off-roading. I'm on a pretty tight trail here. I'm gonna try and turn around. I was going in for a different spot to, this car needs a backup cam. Oh jeez, a backup camera. I have to I have to move the 200 series out of the way to open the garage to get this out, right? So, like when you're jumping back and forth between vehicles. Geez, that was a little steeper than I thought. So I back the 200 out, leave it kind of just running in the street, go in, get in this, back it out, jump back in the 200. It's like, wow, what a difference from 97 to 2021 makes. But, each one, I've always said this thing has character, right? It's not the best at anything, and it's not the best at any one thing, but it's really good at everything, is the way I look at it. But sitting in the 200, it's like any modern Expedition, Tahoe, you get in really comfortable, but it's a Land Cruiser, right? I took it through here last weekend when the snow was about 6 inches deep or so. I took it through with those street, whatever tires are on there that came with it. Some kind of, I don't know, I don't even know, all season tire maybe, not an all-terrain, I don't know, whatever they are. But like I put it in 4 low. You set on that, it's pretty cool, because unlike the Lexus was like early on in the days of you know, nanny systems. With that Land Cruiser and all its systems, I can tell it what terrain I'm in, like the multi-terrain select, right? And what people don't realize is that I'm not talking about the self-drive mode where it gets you out because you don't know how to drive. I'm talking about the part that it will tune the traction control and the ABS to what you're in. So I put it in snow or sand, right? Loose conditions, telling it basically, look, if you start to spin, let it spin a little bit to try and get itself out before you start applying brakes and looking for a wheel to go to. And I put it in that and 4 low, and I literally just, like it was a Sunday drive. Like I was on the street going through pretty deep snow, up and down these same areas I'm going right now, rocky, everything else. Yeah, so you can see how much water, the creeks are flowing. A great time of year, you get the creeks flowing, but it's not hot enough for mosquitoes or anything to be out. So you get a little bit of snow, you get the sun, you get the water, which again for me is very rare here in northern Arizona. But it's, you know, in the monsoon seasons when the rains come, you've got little, not really too bad, but mosquitoes and gnats and things like that can annoy you. But not right now. It's still, I don't know what temp it is. This car doesn't have a temp gauge. I'll just say it's chilly. It's not cold. It's not nice. It's chilly. I'm actually questioning whether this sweatshirt's gonna be enough. I got my jacket here, so I'm gonna set up, and we got a lot, not a lot of things, but just some interesting things I want to talk about, and we're gonna try something out with a meal. I found a different spot up here. It's kind of on the crown. I'll show you around here. It's kind of on a crown of a hill. Drove up to the top of it, and there just happened to be a pretty flat spot up here. But I can look down everywhere. It's kind of unique. Down there is a little bit more kind of flat where I normally cook, but it was pretty muddy, so I went looking for another spot. This isn't too bad. Gets a lot of sun up here on top. So I am going to do something today. A few weeks ago, I did one of those backpacking meals, and it was a mountain house. Now I did go to the store. I went to REI. REI opened up out here. I usually go to like Sportsman's Warehouse for this stuff. It's funny because there's an REI in town that opened up right next door to a Sportsman's Warehouse. So I don't know, competition, one-stop shop, whatever. But I hadn't been at REI in, geez, at least 10 years since I lived in California, and I was getting like more gear for backpacking when I used to do all my walking and backpacking. No motorized vehicles. I did a little bit. You can see that stuff on Can We Survive from back in the day. Anyway, they had in there they had a lot of these, and I've seen these a lot. So this is Peak Refuel, made in Utah, I believe. American Fork, Utah, right? So Peak Refuel. And I went ahead and got the same thing that I got before, beef stroganoff. And here's why. The mountain houses that I have usually in these packets, like, well, here's a scrambled egg mountain house. Okay, this is, I got a scrambled egg mountain house here, and I've got this. It doesn't matter what the meal is. So I found this interesting. This meal, well, let's go with this meal. This meal, I read off when I made that last one. This is best by April of 2049. 2049. So these are good for over 25 years. I don't know how long I've had this. These are good for 25 years. So they say, right? So I'm like, okay, I want to try these out because I've seen a lot of people on YouTube. I don't know if they're paid or if it's actually true, but they're like, hey, these are really good. So I got a couple of these. They're about the same price, I think, approximately. But this says best by, oh, it's hard to see that thing, 2026. Best by 2026. So who knows when this was made? 2028. The last number is like smudged. Best by 2028. So let's just go with 5 years because it's 2024 right now. This thing could be a year old. I don't know. 4 to 5 years, freeze dried. 25 years. So what's the story with that? I actually did see that inside the, wow. Wind chill can do numbers to you. We're going to try this one. So this is the same beef stroganoff like I had last time. It's got only about 5 years worth of sitting in your bag. I'm going to fire it up. Even though I got my awning up, I may set my chair up in the sun because it's a little chilly. All right, so I went ahead and did the water for this. Now, this actually only asks for 6 ounces. 6 ounces. So typical bottle, 16.9 ounces. I don't have a 6 ounce measurement, so I may have overwatered it. And when I poured it in there, I don't think it says, but the other ones, most of the other ones I get are like 2 servings. I try and get the 1.5. They have smaller ones. They're like easier to pack and they kind of like almost cinch them down. And I think they're 1.5 servings. But this one seems like maybe a smaller serving. Serving size, half package, 2 servings per container. Man, you know, they play games with these nutritional facts, people do. So they say, if you just look at the numbers, you're like, oh, that's not bad. But then you have to say, wait a minute. Serving size, half a package. So you have to double that. And then there's 2 servings per container, so you have to double that. So everything's times 4. Anyway. So one of the things I did in my bag that I keep the jet boil in, I've added coffee and I've added a spoon to both of them. So that's worked out. And this is for the times I don't have my kitchen bags with me that have everything in it, and that's the idea. I told you, every time I come out here and I do something different, I figure something out. Well, guess what I figured out? I may have added coffee and a spoon. Where's the cup? Last time I had my coffee cup, from home that I was drinking and driving. So I have this in my bag I have one of these in each one to actually cook things up over a fire. I've had this since, I don't know if it was necessarily before the jet boil, but these were designed, this is a Toaks titanium, 750 mil. So I have this. The problem with these you got to be very careful. Very thin titanium. You could easily burn your lips on this. So it's a balancing act. You're like, what do you mean balancing act? Look, if it's cool enough not to burn your lips, the coffee's probably too dang cold, right? And if the coffee's the right temp, it's going to burn your lips because it's thin titanium, which it transfers heat like you would not believe. Ow! Okay, but this is very, very unique. I just had to burn myself to figure it out. So the coffee is about here. You see that dark spot? That's from the fire. Right about there, the top of that dark spot. Very, very hot. Look at that. I can't even keep my hand on here, but look at the top. That's how much this will transfer the heat. So that might actually work. I'm not going to drink it yet because I just made it. But that might actually work. If that works, great. Then I got a cup. I just got to make sure I have that same cup in my other bag, which I believe I do. I think it's just another brand. And that should be pretty cool. So I've got coffee made. I've got this thing doing its thing, right? I may have overwatered it by a little bit, but I'll give it the break, in judgment. If I overwatered it, that's on me. Let me get set up and we'll see what this is like. I'm going to sit half in and half out of the sun and break all the rules. So the image may not look the best, but the ground's so soft that if I bring my chair out, it's going to sink down in the mud. And again, the beauty of the split tailgate, I'm sitting on my tailgate. If I sit here, I can be in the sun. If I sit here, I'm in the shade because of my awning. But I also have, even if I didn't have my awning out, I've got the top. I don't know how many times I can say how much this is so much better. And my Land Cruiser, the last year the Land Cruiser was made in the United States, 2021, I have that one, and it has this setup. Everything after that changed. Flip up doors, I believe. And the new Land Cruiser 250, that little one, it's going to have, I believe it's a flip up door like a 4Runner, not the flip open door like the Lexus. Okay, so Peak Refuel Premium Freeze-Dried Beef Stroganoff. Beef, rotini noodles, mushrooms with cream sauce. All right, I just opened it. It does not look like I overwatered it, so I may have judged it correctly. It looks, I don't know. The other one, the Mountain House one, the last time I ate it, right? It was very good. It was very good. More than just that, I'm really hungry, I'm out in the wild, I'm eating something. It was good. I ate the whole thing. It looked a little pasty, but it tasted great. So this one looks, I don't know, it kind of looks a little pasty, but it has almost a like a restaurant quality smell to it. The other beef stroganoff didn't smell like anything. This kind of tastes like, if you went to a restaurant, you got this, and I don't know, maybe they put Parmesan cheese on it, pepper, some spices. It definitely has a restaurant smell to it. You know what I mean? Got a hard piece. Okay, that was a piece of meat that somehow didn't unfreeze dry. It has it doesn't say, stroganoff sauce, sour cream, cultured milk, cream, heavy cream, onion, garlic, salt, beef, bouillon. Maybe that stuff. Garlic powder, paprika, black pepper. A lot of chemical names in there too, like niacin and riboflavin, and the basics. Well, it's tasty. It tastes. It has like I have a bit of an aftertaste, but it feels like an aftertaste of spices rather than just like bad aftertaste. Hey, this is working okay. The coffee it's still warm, but it's definitely cooling down way faster than it would in an insulated mug. I thought I had come to think of it, I had a like a soup mug in here, I thought. Oh, I got a poo shovel in there. In one of these bags, I had an insulated container that was about this big, like for soup, which that could work too. But when you open it up, it's a metal edge, and it's all insulated down here. So I don't know. I have those. I may have those orange cups that I use. I think it was a 2-piece set, not 3 or 4. So I have one for each truck. I don't really want to get a cup. I mean, this will work fine. This will work fine. So it's interesting. I think I'll report at the end of the video. How I feel about this. It's definitely got a lot more flavors to it. Like the sauce. If you gave me this on a plate, right, and told me that you homemade it, and I'm eating it, I probably would go, wow, that's really tasty. But because it's coming out of a bag, I'm questioning whether it's like a little off or it's supposed to taste like that. It's definitely a smaller amount than the Mountain House one, but like I said, the Mountain House one was like a 2 serving or 2.5 serving. This one's got a lot more going on in your mouth. It's good. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when you can't identify a taste? Like, is it supposed to taste like that, or is something gone off? Is it supposed to taste like that, or something? I think it tastes pretty good. Let's just leave it at that. It tastes pretty good. So my thing about this time thing, when I put these meals in here, they're for emergencies. I mean, yeah, I've eaten a couple here and there just on a video, but they're really for emergencies. Like this bag has got chili mac, scrambled egg. It's got lasagna. It's got some in there in case, you know, I'm stuck. I've got bottles of water in there, and that's where I keep my jet boil. So that's, put them in there and forget about it, right? 25 years. These ones here, I'm not saying I won't eat them within 5 years, but what if I don't? I have some Mountain House meals that I bought a bucket of them, right? I don't know if they're 20 or 25 meals in there. Emergency meals. Zombie apocalypse stuff. Put them in the closet. You know, they come in a big tub and you can stack them. Just a little bit bigger than a bucket size. And you can stack them in your closet. You could have like 50 meals in there. And those 50 meals, 2 people could eat one of those every 2 days. So like you could literally survive for a couple, you know, maybe 100. You could easily have like 100, 150 days worth of food in a small thing in there. 25 years worth. Where I think that the Peak might be going for more of a quality, taste, and say, look, these are backpacking meals, right? So buy a couple, go backpacking, use them, buy a couple more. It's just a different mentality. That's the only thing I can think of based off of the time. Now, maybe you can get better flavors and better quality out of a shorter shelf life than you can a longer shelf life. I don't know. I'm not a freeze-dried expert. Well, it was pretty good, but I feel like maybe there was too much spices. It's not spices is a bad description. We'll just call it like flavor. Maybe there's a little too much of it. Still have a bit in the aftertaste. Finish the coffee. Stomach is like, you know, that was maybe about half of how much I ate of the other one. It's possible that maybe out here, You know, there is such a thing as too much flavor, too much spice when it comes to those kind of meals. I don't know. It was good. It was good. Maybe I just ate too fast. We'll see. You see how I feel later. I'll report back later on. And it's definitely going to dictate like what I buy. I've had some nasty Mountain House stuff. You know what I mean? Look, everything can't be perfect in life, right? So you're going to get good and bad, or what you like or what you don't like, a lot of different ways. So I would say for like, as you're eating it, 7 out of 10. It tasted 7 out of 10, which is pretty good. Pretty good for out here, right? I mean, I get 7 and 8 out of 10s for stuff that I cook out here. Like cook, not just throw water in. So 7 out of 10. And a smaller amount of water, which is good, because those ones that take a lot of water, I was talking about that. You got to remember, maybe you're out in a situation, you need to ration your water, and you have to eat. If you have to use a bunch of water to rehydrate your meal, it's not a good thing. So that's a plus, smaller amount of water. It seems like smaller portion sizes, which that's good. I think that with how much maybe rich is what I'm going for. Richness. You know, sometimes you can go to dinner and something's really rich and you're like, oh, food coma, right? Maybe that's what it is. A little too rich. But because of that, I think that amount of food that was in there could easily satisfy 2 people. At least one big person, one smaller person, right? So, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it's good. I think it's the same price. I don't remember. Very interesting. You know, I'm not going to do too much off-roading out here because of the mud. I did want to come up, though, because it just keeps happening. All week long, the weather's like very typical spring weather here in Arizona. Then the weekend hits. Here comes some rainstorms. And because of where I live, there's snow, not storms, but a little bit of snow. This one obviously didn't do anything or much at all up here. Probably hit my house more down at a lower elevation than it did up here, which is good. But it's still pretty chilly. It's pretty chilly out. But I haven't driven this. So last weekend I took the Jeep out because it had been a long time since I drove it. So I took the Jeep out, around. And then the weekend before that, I went way up in the north, and I took the Lexus. So that's 2 weekends. And I don't know what I did the weekend before, but it could have been a month since I've driven the old 80 here. And is like, hey, what's up? I thought I was your favorite. It is. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know what it is. But that leads me to wanting to talk just a little bit. I just wanted to get your guys' take on this. Or maybe you have no take on it, but we'll see. All right, so I do a lot of vehicle talk. I would talk about a lot of other things, like these things. But the way YouTube is and the stuff that I used to do, it's a long story with that stuff. I don't know why people get all up in arms about everything, but so there's a lot of things I like, and I like to talk about them. And the more you talk about things, kind of the more you can learn and know about it. So my big thing now, besides this stuff, I got a new optic. It's a red dot, a 1-power, right? But it's a prism. So those of you who don't know what a prism is. So I have a slight astigmatism in my right eye, my dominant eye. I don't know how. Astigmatism is when your eye's just a little out of round. That's it. No big deal. Well, I think a lot of people have them. But if you have an astigmatism, when you look through a red dot, that dot is not a nice dot. It kind of starbursts. Mine does it about the 5 o'clock position. It'll do like a little tiny starburst. Not like this, but what it does is it makes the dot not crystal crisp and clear. Even worse with the holographic sight like an EOTech, which sucks because EOTech holo sights are awesome. Zero parallax, you know, and they're really good. Even though they look like a mailbox on your rifle. But they're very good. A lot of military uses them. They like them a lot. I can't use them because the slight astigmatism. So a prism scope, what it does to solve that is it etches the glass, right? It etches the glass. So it's always, you're not seeing the starburst effect. But then it also has an illuminator that hits it and you can lighten it up and it's still really clear because it's hitting this etched glass. So you can shoot through it with it, just the black etching, or you can turn on and it'll go red or green, whatever you like. I don't know why people like green. Red, just stick with red. Green out here. And green is more expensive. I don't know why. They must, I can't see why they would sell more. Anyway, usually the prisms were reserved for like magnified optics. 3 times, 5 times, and even on rifle scopes like 1 to 4, 1 to 6, 1 to 8, things like that. Well, this is it's 1 power. It's not magnified, and it's prism. There was Vortex made one called, I think, the Spitfire, but it was really long, the old tube style, looked like looking through a toilet paper roll, but it has just a round, it looked like a hollow sight with the round outer and the round inner. It's really good, but it's ridiculously big. They may have made a better one now, but I'm not going to buy another one of those. I do like it, but anyway, I got that, and I got a higher rise mount. So those of you that know or don't know, when you look through iron sights, if you put a red dot on there, there's 2 traditional heights. One called absolute co-witness, which means if you flip up your iron sights, they'll be right in line with your dot. They'll be right there, right? And then there's 1/3 co-witness, where they'll be below your dot in the lower third of your optic. But nowadays, it's becoming more popular to get these high-rise risers because, you know, night vision and wearing a plate carrier, you know, or being bigger like I am. See, I'm like this. I have to, like, when you have your ear protection on and you're like having to tuck your head down, I don't look like I'm in a comfortable position. So I got one of these, and it's, instead of like 1.9, it's like 2.3 inch or something. It's not that big, but it is bigger, and you can kind of keep your head up straight or get a mild cheek weld. And I put it on a 300 blackout the other night. I'm gonna take it out this next weekend, sight it in, see how I like it. I feel like, you know, just kind of doing drills in the house, like bringing it up to your sight line, it feels really good. It's supposed to feel like bringing your pistol up, right? So you don't go like this and then move your head, right, for your pistol. You bring your pistol up like this. Well, if I bring up my rifle, same thing. I don't want to do this and then have to do that. That's the idea behind it. Wind is, wow, it really changes everything, doesn't it? I don't know. Haven't been saying that for years. Wow, it can take a pleasant day and turn it to, woo, geez, there's just enough. I was going to talk about some stuff about vehicles, but I started talking about rifles, but I don't know if I'll leave that part in because I don't know what the guidelines are. Can you talk about them if you don't show them? Oh boy. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about YouTube and like new cars and trucks that come out, the hype, the comment section hype. Look, I love vehicles, right? I get all hyped up too, like, ooh, I want that, I want that, I want that. I have 5 Land Cruisers and a Jeep. I have issues, right? I have issues. You know, I like the new Tacoma. I want it. The new Tundra from a year or two ago. I want it. The new Land Cruiser coming out. I want it. The new Lexus GX 550. I want it. The new 4Runner. I want it, right? You can't have any of those. Cars are so stupid expensive nowadays. Like, stupid. Like, who can afford that? I buy all mine used. Anyway, what I find interesting, and I think it's like society or human nature, whatever it is, but this hype train starts, right? We'll just use the Tacoma because it's like the one right now. Last year, building up to right now. It's like, oh my God, I saw an image of the new Tacoma. Oh my God, this, that, and the other thing. And then they started doing events. And every YouTuber's like out there saying the same things, standing next to the same trucks, talking to the same Toyota engineer. Was it Sheldon or whatever? He's the lead engineer guy. All the same stuff. Oh, and they all say, I'm getting one for sure. Oh, I'm getting one for sure. Yeah, you know, YouTube, you might do that though. Like depending on the type of channel, you might buy a vehicle because of the channel and the views and the hype. But here we are, April 6th into 2024. They've been out for a while. The hype isn't real. Like I don't see them all over the road. I don't see them all over YouTube. I saw a couple like, hey, we're the first ones with it. Look, we're going to take it off-road. And they, God, please, just, they don't even take it off-road. If you're going to just like drive it on the dirt, that's fine. Just don't say off-road test. Because it's not off-roading. If you're on YouTube and you buy a vehicle to show everybody, you're under obligation to push that car farther than other people would so they know. It's like when I do gaming, I buy games and play them and show people because if they suck, you don't have to spend the money that I did. That's my job as far as that goes with gaming. If I buy the game, I show it to you, you say that sucks, I'm not going to buy it. I just did my job. Same thing with these YouTubers that buy cars. They go out and they pussyfoot around, you know, and they're like, oh, this is the very challenge. It's not challenge. You're not doing anything. Let's be honest. And the comment section, no one calls them out on it. Like, dude, all you're doing is talking about this thing. You're going over like this much snow. You're going over a little boulder like this and 15 people are spotting you through there. It's a little ridiculous. But what I wanted to talk about, sorry about the tangent. What I wanted to talk about was, like, I was hyped too. I'm like, wow, the new Tacomas look cool. They look really cool. Look, what the Tacoma has going for it, it's got this cool look to it. It's always had this cool look to it. And it's got the Toyota name backing it. I got a Tacoma. I got a 2021 TRD Pro. Like, that's a nice truck, right? Guess what? A lot of the internet is a bunch of BS because that engine sucks. Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's great. No, it's not great. It's not great. You have to like rev it out to 5,000 RPMs just to climb a hill, like a grade on the road. It's always hunting for gears. And I had stock tires on it, factory. The seating position is like sitting on the floor in your living room, legs straight out. No one talks about this unless everyone's like 5 foot tall that owns them. And, you know, I don't know. But at 6'3", that was the most uncomfortable thing ever. I owned it for like 4 or 5 months and I gave it back to Toyota, got my money back. It's a nice truck. It looks awesome. Like I fell in love with the look of it. Well, the new one, you know, they changed the seat position. They changed the engine. More torque, turbo, all that stuff. So that should be pretty cool. But what gets me about all this stuff is now it's time to buy. Where's the hype? Where are all the people with them? Like I watch mainly off-road, overlanding, camping videos, truck reviews, car reviews. That's what I watch. So my page, it pops up everything, nothing. You heard about the Land Cruiser at the same time as you did the Tacomas, then you don't hear anything about the Land Cruiser. And it's almost ready to come out. Same thing with the GX. It's on the boats on the way here. So it's just what I'm getting at long-winded is, what is it about that? Like, is today's society like, we're all about the hype? Like people's, again, back to gaming. Media, are you looking forward to this game? I'm like, no, I'm not looking forward to a game that's not coming out for 2 or 3 years. These games get hyped up for years. Then they release and they suck, or they don't have the traction, or people don't care about it anymore. Same thing with these cars. Maybe it's the problem with social media, right? Maybe we're inundated so much with the hype train that once the real thing comes out, you're just like, I don't want it, or I can't afford it. I didn't realize that this truck was going to be almost $50,000, right? And it doesn't even have heated seats. These guys are spending $45,000. No leather, no heated seats. They're like TRD off-road. I'm like, where's all the off-road stuff? It's almost like it's just a name now. There's so much more competition now. Chevy Colorado, Ford Ranger Raptor. Even Nissan's coming out with some stuff, you know? In the United States, Nissan doesn't get talked about a lot, even though there's a lot of fans here of it. I don't see that many of the trucks on the road, right? I don't know what the sales are like, but I know in other countries, it's like Nissan and Toyota battle for each other, like in Australia. I know that for a fact. It's like the Ford versus Chevy thing. But here, I don't know if Nissan doesn't do its marketing. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with it in the United States, but whenever you see something about a Nissan, though, the comments are all over it. People love them. But if that many people love them, why aren't the sales up? Why aren't they pushing Nissan to innovate a better looking truck? They may have just as good a truck as the Tacoma, but in my opinion, wow. Whoever does their body lines, I think they fell asleep in 1980 and didn't wake back up. Like I said, the thing that Tacoma has going for it is it looks like a beast. It looks like a monster just sitting still. The problem I have with the Ranger is, and I was a Ford fan for a long time, the problem I have with the Ranger is it's got a natural sloping shape to, like, from the driver to the hood. And what that does is it makes the rake, the factory rake, look even worse. You know this, where the front's lower than the back, when you want your off-road vehicle to be level. Because it's like rounded like that, it like exaggerates the rake look. Even though it's not, you could put a tape measure to it, it exaggerates it. So you'd have to do, even if you did a leveling kit, you still would have this weird looking rake. Honestly, off the lot, these Chevy Colorados or the GMC Canyon, some of these packages they have, they're coming with front and rear lockers. They're coming not only with 33-inch tires, but they're jacked up, man. I don't know how Chevy's getting away with it. Like, there's no way those things are passing the tests, like swerve tests and stuff, because some of the Colorados around here are jacked up and they're narrow, right? But there's so much competition out there nowadays that, Toyota coming out with look, I like my Toyotas made in Japan. It's a fact. I was very proud when I heard that Toyota came to the United States and they were building vehicles here. Texas, the trucks. Here we are in 2024 and all the Tundras and all the Tacomas are made in Mexico. Well, why? Why do we do that? Why do we export everything? Like, I don't get Americans. I don't get it. Made in Mexico. So it was one thing when it was made in Texas, a truck made in Texas with the Toyota backing. I could get behind that. But now they're made in Mexico. So it's a Toyota from Japan company, a Japanese company, with the truck made in Mexico, sold in the United States. What's there to be proud of that? I don't know. Tangent time, big time. My 2021 Tacoma TRD Pro, it was made in the United States. It was one of the last ones. It was on the, you just look at your door, it'll tell you where it was made. It was made in the U.S. And it was awesome, man. Just couldn't stand the seating. All right, it's getting a little chilly. I just went on like a 12-minute tangent about Toyota and other trucks and made in Mexico, not made in the U.S. And yeah, I don't know how much or any of that I'll put in. I kind of go off sometimes. I'm going to get on out of here. I actually had a lot of fun coming up here. I get in the 80, you got to drive. If you're going to have multiple vehicles, you got to drive them. They just can't sit. They'll rot. You have to drive them. It's not just the battery. It's all the seals, everything. You got to drive them. So rotating through. It was really fun getting out here. new spot, trying some different food. Still got a little aftertaste in my mouth, but you know, I only had coffee and a little bit of water, so it's not like I had a soda or a beer or something to taste something else. But it was pretty good. But I'm gonna drop the awning, head on out of here to stay away from that mud. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Look, there's nothing wrong with just getting out for a little while. That's what this trip is right here. I just get out for a couple hours. Look, yesterday it was super windy, right? I stayed inside and played video games all day. Yeah, like 6 hours. Totally into this game Enshrouded. Played like 6 hours because it was miserable outside, whatever. And I'm like, you know, if it's decent tomorrow, I'll go out tomorrow. You get out for a couple hours, it makes all the difference in the world. You get out early, do a little bit. You don't need to commit to like an 8-10 hour day. That's what turns people off from just getting out and doing something. If you want to, trust me, I am Captain Procrastinator myself. You know, I'll be like, I can come up, I could write 101 excuses for anything. You know, like those joke books in the bathroom? 101 jokes, I don't know what they are. Anyway, I could come up with 101 excuses for anything. Oh, yeah, it's a little windy outside. I don't think I'll go anywhere today. Oh, it's trash day. I don't feel like putting the car in the street because the trash truck comes and then I have to back this out. And, dude, I got them all. But if you can get past that and just, like today, I'm like, I skipped out on yesterday. I want to get out. I definitely want to drive this and have some fun. And after seeing the snow this morning all over the cars, I wanted to come up here and see. Unlike the last two videos, there's no new snow up here. It's whatever was remaining from last week. So that's interesting. Lower level, it snowed. Up here, it didn't. But 2,500 feet higher than my house right here. But that's going to do it for me. Again, I don't know. Man, there was 2 segments. I was talking about, you know, like red dot sights from my rifle. And then I was going off on truck marketing. I forgot to talk about price, how everything is like, I don't know how anybody can afford anything, but I went off on 2 long tangents. I don't know if I'll put that in or not. Usually I have to review it later to see how stupid I sound or whatever, but I get, you know, I get not emotional. It's just the way I am. You know, I say what I think. And if it, the way I edit myself is I just edit it out of the video, you know. I don't pull any punches. It's a good thing, but I don't know. Not all the time, not always. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Hope you all enjoyed this short little, I don't know what it was. Short little excursion out into the very limited amount of snow and trying out the Peak Refuel meal. Thanks for watching, everyone.